So, welcome to the Canto Online Hack launch event. I'm Angela. I'm sure a lot of you have seen me before or know of me, and then I'm sure there are also some of you who have joined, and this might be your first Encode Hackathon, in which, hello, I'm a program manager at Encode. If you want to get in touch with me or kind of connect, here are my socials, or you can scan this QR code and it will take you to a page with all of those on it. Yeah, not to show myself or anything, but just in case you need to get in contact, and also maybe a little bit to show myself. Awesome. So this is the Canto Hackathon, powered by Encode Club. So a little bit more about us. We are an emerging tech education community with a strong specialization in Web3 as well. We've been in the space for a number of years now. I'm sure you all know. We help devs learn, build, and progress their careers in emerging tech. Yeah, that's basically the summary. What we do, you guys might have seen this. You probably have if you've taken or been part of some of our previous programs. But these are all of the different types of programs and things that we run to help progress people's careers. But a bit more about the Canto Online Hack. This is a 4-week hackathon centered around innovation, creativity, contribution to the Canto ecosystem. Canto, if you're not sure, is an L1. Their really kind of purpose is to kick it up a notch in the DeFi space as well. And I'm sure some more of the community members will be able to tell you more about that later on. Just to go over our sponsors and partners, Canto, of course, the Canto community is our title sponsor, and these are our partners as well, who will be delivering workshops and helping support and giving you guys help with building your project, and they might also be sponsoring a bounty too. So back to the basics first. What happens during a hackathon? Some of you might have taken a hackathon before or done a hackathon before. Some of you, this might be your first time. Don't worry, we welcome everyone. These are the general stages. So you register with us. I'm sure all of you have registered already. If not, please do so, and I can let you know those links in a moment. You can form a team or you can hack solo, up to you, but you know, you're gonna get your project together. We've got loads of workshops lined up. Those will help you gain the skills needed to build your project. We'll have mentorship as well, and then finally you'll submit your project. Sounds like a lot. We do have 4 weeks, and roughly the schedule kind of looks like this. Week 1, this is us. We're launching today, and we will be kicking off with workshops immediately. Let's hit the ground running, everyone. And then in the later weeks, next week, we'll have a few more workshops. You can start to progress your ideas, or if you're ready to build, please go straight ahead and start doing so. Week 3, get building, everyone. And finally, week 4, get yourselves ready to submit. Everything makes sense so far, everyone? Drop me a little thumbs up in the chat if so. Awesome. Cool. A bit more about support and resources in this hackathon. So everything you need to know about this hack is in our hacker pack on the left. So you can scan a QR code here. But I will also quickly promote it now. It's come up like this, but that's okay. That's the link to the hacker pack. So if you need to access that, please do so. We also have 2 ways of getting in contact with us. We have the Encode Discord, and those of you familiar with Encode, you'll be able to join us there, find the right role as usual into the hackathon channel, and then we'll be able to chat with you there. Alternatively, there is a Telegram chat, and I will be promoting this quickly too on the side. So please do join this Telegram chat, and you can chat and mingle with other hackers and people in the hackathon community. Awesome, guys. And finally, there is also direct support. So you'll be able to call me or Hutch. We'll have kind of booking links out there for you to get in contact, and we'll be able to help you out with any questions that you might have. From my side, I'm unfortunately non-technical, but I can help you with anything to do with how to get started in the hackathon, what to do, who to get in touch with if you have questions, technical questions and things like that. Or even, I can be your second eyes in your project idea, and you can practice pitching it to me, and I'll let you know what I think. So please do get in touch. And yeah, Hutch, who will be representing Canto, will be also here as well. And there might be a few more mentors to be announced. Cool. So on to the bounties and prizes. I would love to invite Hutch to the stage firstly, to go over the Canto bounty. Cool. Hey Hutch, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Good.
Yeah, not bad. Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Canto bounty and what you're looking for in terms of projects?
Sure, yeah. So yeah, my name's Hutch. I am leading up the Canto Growth Collective and also help put together this hackathon. So yeah, we've got a 500,000 Canto total bounty. That's going to be probably split between at least 5 projects. What we're really looking for is we're looking for some new, really exciting DeFi primitives to be built on top of Canto. There's lots of like really cool ecosystem things that already exist on Canto, but we're really looking for someone that's kind of pushing the boundaries to bring some new and exciting projects and some things that'll bring new liquidity and new users into the ecosystem. So anything that's like kind of a new idea, or even some of the tried and true things that are really popular in ecosystems right now are going to be what we're looking for within the Canto hackathon, and the judges are going to be really looking for teams who are not only just really motivated and like aligned with the Canto ecosystem, free public infrastructure, and kind of the things that Canto has going on, but teams that have like adaptability, good business sense, and solid code kind of commitments. So that's really it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. And yeah, everyone, this is the Hutch I was speaking about in terms of if you guys want to get support later on, you can get in touch, and I will let you know how to do that by email. Awesome. Thank you so much, Hutch. I'm going to kick you from the stage now. Hope that's okay, and invite our next speaker. Awesome. Cool. So we've got the first bounty from Canto, and I would love to introduce the second bounty. And our next speaker, Vivaldi, will be joining us in a brief moment. Hey, hello. Can you hear us and everything?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Do you want to give us the quick rundown of your bounty and what you're looking for great projects?
Yeah, definitely. So, hey everyone, I'm Vivaldi. I'm the CEO of Cadence. And first off, want to give a congratulations to you all for taking the first step towards building your own protocol. We were actually in the exact same shoes as you guys about 1 year ago. I'm sure it's gonna be a really exciting and really valuable experience with probably some fun sleepless nights towards the end of it. So Cadence is actually, yeah, as Angela was saying, Cadence is doing a bounty of about 50,000 CAD to the top 3 projects that build on top of Cadence. And this is along with the Canto bounty. So the top team, like usual, gets the most and then scales down towards the runner-ups. So some example ideas we were thinking about building CLP microeconomies, stability pools, stats pages, CLP referral systems, and even omni-chain LPing into CLP. So feel free to use one of those or anything up to your imagination, really. And one quick piece of advice, one thing about what you want to build is how your project can scale. And that's when we learned inside the Cadence, like when Cadence was in the hackathon about a year ago. And a lot of it comes naturally with your project scaling with our Symphony launch and Canto's growth. But one example is, imagine you want to build omni-chain LPing into Cadence's CLP. You can quickly get PMF with Cadence Perpetuals and then grow it to integrate with Symphony and other protocols. And then you can go into omni-chain dynamic yield generation, for example. So the vision is really everything for a hackathon. But yeah, this gives an opportunity for you guys to work closely with the Cadence team. Feel free to use the team and I as a resource. My Twitter is Vivaldi0x, so feel free to reach out. And yeah, good luck, guys, and have fun. Excited to see what you guys will build.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vivaldi. Cool. Yeah, two awesome bounties. And what I love the most about these is they're quite open, and you guys, build what you want, build what you can, think about anything that you'd like, and just go for it. And, these being prize pools, you could win something. Not that that's the only motivation to build, but it's a great incentive, and you never know what's going to happen. So I strongly encourage you guys to, we've taken the first step, take it to the next level, get involved, get building. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so a few FAQs. I know that some of you, if you've not done a hackathon before, you might have a few questions. Anyone can take part, so please don't be worried if you're not a dev, or if you're not if you don't think you're super experienced. It's fine. Join, have a chat with me. I can help you find a team and get you going. Where can you find other resources? Here's the link to the Hacker Pack, again via QR code. I will also post it again on the stage so that you can on the stage. Sorry, it pops up right in front of everyone, but there's a Hacker Pack. Please look through that. It has all the information that you need, and so any questions, you can also refer to that. Can you enter an existing project? So at Encode, we always want people to build and grow and develop. So if you have an existing project and it's a good concept and you like it, then we don't want to limit you in terms of what you're building. But in order to be eligible to join this hackathon, you must make significant changes, and only your changes that you make during the hackathon time will be counted during the judging period. So please do bear that in mind. But if you have a cool idea, please do join with it. As mentioned before, do you need a team? No, you can hack solo if you want, but I can also help you find one or help you match with someone. So please do let me know. Please don't hesitate to reach out, and I can help you out there. Where does the organization happen? Discord and Telegram. So we will be posting on both of those kind of platforms from the Encode side within the Encode Discord, but also in the Telegram chat that Hutch has put in this session chat at the moment. You can join there. And finally, will there be technical support? Yes, when you're able to join some of those one-to-one meetings with Hutch and with the other sponsors as well, they will be able to help you technically there. So please watch out for those, and also the workshops too. I hope that's all been clear, but again, reach out if you need anything or have any other questions. Okay, on to key dates, as I know that we are raring to go. Today is the launch event. Thank you all for being here. Our first workshop will be straight after this. So we have Plex Labs joining us to talk about smart contract security. So please do stay tuned for this workshop. This week and for next week as well will be workshops coming up, and as said before, kind of in the weeks 3 you will be building and working, and then working towards your submission deadline, which will be Sunday, May the 5th, and then finally prize giving will be later on. Okay, Here is a quick update of all of those workshops that I've just mentioned. So again, this week and next week, plenty of workshops to join. So please watch out for these. But don't worry, these are all on the Hacker Pack as well. So please refer to those to get your information. Okay, and finally, we are ready to kick things off. But having now heard about both bounties, what are you guys most interested in building? Have you had any experience in building in hackathons before? How's that been so far? Please type your answer in the chat. And also I can see that TK has joined us on stage. While you guys are typing in the chat, TK, can you hear me? And can you also respond with your mic?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's up? How are you?
Cool. I'm good. Thank you so much. It's great to see you. I think we are ready to go. Everyone's been keenly waiting. Yeah, do you have slides to share with us today?
Yeah, I have like an agenda. It's not really
Incredible.
in like a slide format, but can I share my screen on this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so just a quick overview. This is going to be a workshop that kind of goes over smart contract security. And I don't want to go too into depths about like, let's say like different types of vulnerabilities. Rather, I want to kind of go over like the way that we think about security, especially as we launch like different types of things on top of Canto. And so kind of like starting it off, like two things that I think are very helpful in understanding different types of bugs that exist within smart contracts. One is damn vulnerable DeFi. And this is a really great resource. It's kind of like a set of challenges that you can use, that you can kind of complete, which tell you like different types of vulnerabilities that exist, especially within DeFi. So there's going to be things like flash loan attacks, Oracle manipulations, vulnerabilities in like DEXs, lending markets, anything that you can kind of think of within DeFi. This is a really great resource to be able to understand those types of attack vectors. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to get into the actual vulnerabilities themselves because I think we can probably use the time that we have right now better in kind of describing how we approach security. But just giving you, this will give you like really good sort of like background information. And it also gives you like a lot of information on like hacks that have happened historically, especially on Ethereum. And it'll really familiarize you with sort of like what kind of, again, attack vectors exist in DeFi. And another really good resource for that is like the Ethernaut challenge. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this one as well. This is, again, a set of challenges that kind of basically force you to hack these like contracts that Open Zeppelin has already deployed, and they've made it like really seamless in terms of like the experience. So everything is done through like the actual console, like in your browser. So like there's very minimal setup. And this, again, really familiarizes you with a lot of like the types of vulnerabilities that can exist in smart contracts. So these two, I think, are probably the best resources to like really wet your feet in understanding like what kind of attack vectors like and risks exist. And then I'm kind of getting into like, okay, how are we thinking about security, or like what are we doing to make sure that the things that we launch on Canto are secure? And so like the first topic here is like using existing contracts. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with like the Open Zeppelin library. But
TK, sorry,
yeah.
Just to quickly interrupt, would you be able to zoom in a little bit?
Oh yeah, of course.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks, Mehrab. Yeah, that's perfect for me. Fantastic.
Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Awesome. So yeah, basically like using existing contracts. The reason that like I think it's almost always preferable to use existing contracts is because it just means that it's been more like battle hardened. And so let's say like you want to deploy some kind of like token or like some kind of NFT contract, like rather than creating your own one, you almost always want to use something that already exists. And like a really great resource for that are actually the Open Zeppelin contracts. So this is like a set of contracts that Open Zeppelin has created and already audited. And they're actually like in use like all the time throughout like many different types of protocols. And so I'll just kind of get into like a few of these. Like the most basic ones would be like the tokens, right? So like if you want to launch an ERC20, well, great. They already have an ERC20 contract that's available. And all you really have to do is just import this contract and then kind of extend it in any way that you need. So let's say you have to have some kind of like special feature on your ERC20 token. They have a boilerplate ERC20 already here. So you would kind of import this, add the additional features that you need, make sure that you test those additional features, and then you have a very safe contract because you know, this is like a contract that's in use, you know, thousands of times. There's thousands of these deployed on Ethereum and all the other EVM chains that are already being used without any issues. And so they have these tokens. I would say these are probably like the most simple ones. So the ERC721s, the ERC20s, which are just regular tokens, and the 1155s, which is like a sort of a unique, I guess, a newer type of token. But then there's actually more complex contracts that they have that they kind of give you access to as well. So a really good one to look at is like the governance stuff. So like if you need any form of governance in your protocol, a really good resource would be to use something based off the Open Zeppelin governor. And so this is like a very simple, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is just a very simple, like sort of like contract that allows you to have like people vote on different things, maybe publish some kind of call data to execute proposals, things of that nature. And then the other thing is, obviously you have those standard contracts, but let's say you want something that's a little bit more complex, like you're trying to build some kind of a lending protocol. Well, like there's like a lot of lending markets that already exist. And so like a good example of that would be something like Compound. And so if you know that you like the requirements for your protocol fall in line with like something like Compound V2, then it's probably a really good idea to use Compound V2 as a base for your protocol. And the reason for that is like Compound V2 has been live for many years. People have forked Compound V2 to create new protocols, you know, dozens of times. I would say the total TVL that is like contained in Compound V2 and Compound V2 forks has been probably over $1 billion in its lifetime in a sustained way. And so you know that it's very like hardened. You know that like there's compared to like new code, there's very little risk just because it's been live for such a long time. And hackers have been looking at it for many, many years. And if they have found vulnerabilities, it's already been patched. People understand the code base really well. It's also a huge advantage because when you're getting this kind of stuff audited, things like Compound V2, things like Uniswap, these things are code bases that every auditor already understands very deeply. And so even if you're making augmentations to it to add new features, because they understand the underlying protocol so deeply already, it becomes very easy for them to audit. And so that's a huge, huge added benefit. And so I'll kind of get into audits a little bit later on. At Canto, I think we've probably done like 10 or so audits at this point. So we have a lot of experience on how, like what kind of things you need to do to make sure that the audit that you get is very successful. But like a great starting point would be to use some kind of code base that auditors are very familiar with. And so that's what you're kind of doing by using a fork of something like Compound, Aave, Uniswap, any of these things that have been live for a very long time. And so I'll show you like a way that you can actually look up like forked repo, like forked protocols. If you go to like DeFi Llama, this is probably like one of my favorite resources in all of crypto. So useful. You can look at the forks category, and like you can see here, Compound V2, it's been forked 125 times. The total TVL that it holds is 3 billion right now. Now if you look at Compound V2, you can take a look at all of the different things, all of the different protocols that have forked Compound. And if you're curious as to like what kind of maybe changes or features that they've added, you can always click on the protocol. So like Orbit is a new lending market on Blast. And clearly they're based off of Compound. So I can just go look at Orbit, go to their docs, and then now I can kind of see like, all right, they're based off Compound. I already know that. What have they added to it? Like what kind of features have they put into it? And then that kind of gets you an idea. Like let's say Orbit is like what you want to fork instead of just regular Compound. Like Orbit has already built some kind of features that you're interested in to integrating into your own protocol. Well, yeah, now you can do that, and you can get something that's already deployed, that's already live, has significant TVL, and the risk goes down a lot as opposed to just like writing your own raw code. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go over for like using existing contracts. The next thing that I want to kind of cover is like testing. So when we are going live with smart contracts, like the testing period is actually like usually longer than the time it takes to write the contracts themselves. And so let's say like we're building a new protocol, it takes us 3 months to write all the code for it. Then testing will take like at least another like 3 months, honestly. And that's because like during the testing period, you have to really think deeply about like every single possible vulnerability that could exist. And also writing the tests themselves is something that isn't like a simple task. Like a lot of people, I feel like, think about testing as kind of an afterthought, but for us, it's actually it's actually like the part of the development cycle that we put like most of our focus and energy on. And so obviously there's just like basic logic checks that would just be like, all right, ensuring that like if somebody is not the owner of a contract, they can't access the funds, right? There's going to be like a whole list of things that you can test in that realm. Also, you can get into fuzz testing. So what fuzz testing is basically using like the help of these different sort of tools. Maybe you're using something like Hardhat or Foundry or Echidna, which is a fuzz tester based on Python. And basically you're kind of like spamming your contracts with a ton of different values or a ton of different numbers or whatever it is that your contract inputs, and you're like doing a huge amount of testing, and you're doing like what's the right word? Kind of like testing like every single range of like the numbers that you can input into your contract. And so like an example of this would be like, let's say you're testing like a DEX. You've created like a new DEX and you want to fuzz test it. You can like specify a range of values to input into like the swap function, all the way from like 0 or something that's very small, maybe like one way, all the way up to like a very large number. Obviously, With ERC20s, you have to be very careful about decimals because, you know, some tokens may have 6 decimal places, some tokens may have 18 decimal places. So in the fuzz tests, you can basically ensure that you kind of cover every range of number in that swap function. And then the other really cool thing is like you can kind of run that not just for the swap function, but also for like things like LPing in addition to the swap function. So like, let's say somebody LPs a very small number and then you want to swap a very large number. Well, you would expect that test to fail. And so fuzz testing is just kind of making sure that like you kind of cover every case, every edge case. And I think personally, like the framework that we use is Foundry. So I'm not sure if you guys are probably familiar with Forge and Foundry, but it's like kind of like almost like a hard hat alternative that was made by Paradigm. And they have really great tooling for like testing, for interacting with smart contracts, for deploying smart contracts, for like verifying your smart contracts on different block explorers. So I would really recommend you check that out. The really cool thing about Foundry is it's actually all of like the work is like all of your code is written in Solidity. So with something like Hardhat, you have to use like JavaScript or TypeScript. But with Foundry, you can actually just use Solidity. So there's like a lot of like advantages that come with that, which I can kind of get into later when we're going into like an example repo that I've prepared. And then the last thing is like economic testing. And so this is really more relevant if you're doing something that is related to DeFi, especially if there's oracles involved. And so like economic testing is just making sure that like the different like mechanisms, like DeFi mechanisms that you've created are resilient in an economic sense. And so a really great example of this would be, so this is the testing that we did for the CLM Oracle. And so we built a new type of Oracle for the Canto lending market that kind of looks at prices based on the Canto DEX. And we wanted to make sure that it was resilient, that it was not easily manipulated. And if, you know, obviously any Oracle can be manipulated, but the idea is that you want the cost of that manipulation to be much higher than the potential payouts. And so this is something that you would really want to do a lot of testing for, do a lot of simulations. And so we ran a bunch of simulations on, okay, how much would it cost to manipulate the Oracle by XYZ%? And then in that scenario, like how much would the payout be? Like how much would this attacker actually receive? And so the idea is like you want to increase the cost for that that Oracle to be manipulated, and you also want to make sure that the person is never actually making more money than the cost of the manipulation, right? And so this can be done in any kind of like smart contract development framework. You can use Hardhat, you can use Foundry. I think we used Foundry for this one, if I'm not mistaken. But you can kind of see like we're creating all these simulations and charting everything to make sure that this Oracle is very resilient economically. And so this chart is called the prices after swaps. So this would be like basically after doing like a really big swap to try to like basically change the ratios of like the tokens in the DEX pool. If somebody makes a really massive swap, what can they potentially do with that in the lending market? And so we have a bunch of simulations like this one. We're comparing like our old one and the new one that we built. We're doing testing on like liquidations as well. Like, is there any attack vector related to like liquidations on the Canto lending market? Because that's also something that you have to think about when you're looking into lending markets. And so it's very comprehensive. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of like work that goes into this. This is like the result of like the scripts that we wrote, but like even the scripts that we wrote are very extensive and they're very sort of like involved. And so that's why when we say like, you know, testing is something that takes almost as long, if not longer, than the actual development. Like, this is why. It's because you really do have to be super involved and super sort of focused on sort of every single part of the contract itself. So yeah, that's kind of like a little, I guess, overview of how we kind of approach testing. And then I think the biggest thing I wanted to go over is actually just audits. And so, as I mentioned, Canto has done a lot of audits, probably over 10 at this point. We've done audits for like blockchain modules. We've done audits for smart contracts. We've done audits for like DeFi protocols, NFT platforms, things like that. And so we've really kind of honed in on the process. And I'm sorry if there's like some kind of background noise. It's like New York City, super loud. But like the biggest thing when you're like thinking about audits is like, you want to set up everything in a way that like your code base is very easy for an auditor to understand. And so I want to kind of go into one of the previous audits that we actually did. And so this is for our VRWA protocol. I think this audit was done, let's see, is there a date here? Looks like about 9 months ago. And basically, when you're doing an audit, at least, so the platform that we use is Code for Arena, or Code Arena, and that's kind of like an open like contest format audit platform. So like anyone can kind of join as like an auditor. Obviously, if you're really good, you can like join these contests and then audit all of these different protocols, and basically win some of like the potential prizes that we put up. And so you can look here, our prize pool was like $36,000. And I think by Code for Arena, if we look at the report itself, I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the VRWA audit that we did. You can see there were like over 100 people auditing our code base. And then you can kind of look through some of the findings that they had. But in terms of kind of like setting up your repo for success, one, you want to give a very good overview of exactly how the code base works. And so you want to like describe every component of the actual code base. You want to describe every like mechanism. So obviously, if it's like something that's very simple, like governance, you don't have to go too deep into it unless there's something that's very unique about your protocol. But since like this protocol itself was actually like a completely new protocol, we didn't really fork much. We wanted to give like a very good sort of description of how it works. And then you want to very clearly define your scope. So here we give them like the exact contracts to look at. We tell them how many lines of code each contract is, and we also tell them exactly what that contract is used to do. And so like if you go into here, this is one of the contracts that they can audit. We also make sure to have very good documentation within the within the contracts themselves. So you want to write really good descriptive sort of like little blurbs that tell you, the auditors, like what each function is actually doing. You want to tell them like what the parameters are, what is it actually returning. And so this kind of makes it very simple for somebody who's like looking over your code base to be able to, one, get a sense of what it's doing relatively quickly. And then two, if they want to go back and like quickly look at a function, they can kind of like read this little excerpt and not have to actually read through the code unless they need to for some other reasons. So that's very important as well. And then Here is where we kind of get into the sort of like the weeds about each contract that we want audited. And so as you can see, we're like formatting it in a way where it's very easy for like the auditor to consume. Like obviously as the people who write the contract, we're very familiar with it. Like we understand it very well, but you have to like understand that like auditors don't they haven't been looking at the contract. They're not the ones who wrote it. They're completely new. So you want to like really just like make it as simple and as easy to understand as possible. And then I would say kind of going back to like the last section, you also want to have very comprehensive testing available for the auditors to use. And so in our repo, we had tests for every contract that kind of test every single function. And this is actually really important for auditing as well. Like you want to make sure that before you send something into audit, you have a very comprehensive testing suite, because that is actually one of the ways, like that's one of the tools that the auditors use to basically try to find vulnerabilities within your protocol. Is they'll look at the tests, they'll look at all of the scenarios that you've already tested, and then they'll think about how to modify those scenarios or maybe add new scenarios that may have vulnerabilities in them. And so that's, like the way that like smart contract, like the life cycle of smart contract development works is like you write the contracts, you write all the tests, you do all of the testing, and then you send it to audit. And usually when you send something to audit, it'll come back with some number of bugs. Hopefully there's no like high security vulnerabilities, but sometimes there are. But most of the times there will be like low to medium level securities low to medium level bugs, which can usually be fixed with like very simple like one-line changes. But yeah, and then once you kind of get that audited, let's say there is like a high level security, then obviously you want to fix that and then make sure that it actually has been fixed. And so you would probably want to get it audited again, at least internally, if not using like the same kind of platform or using the same people who audited your initial code base. And so, yeah, like basically, I guess the main message that I'm trying to get across is like the development is like, I would say like 60 to 70% of it is actually just getting it tested and getting it audited. And this is especially true when it comes to like DeFi protocols. Obviously, if your protocols are like handling real money, you need it to be safe. You need it to not be hackable. And so that really does kind of show through in like the life cycle of smart contract development, right? Like for us, and I think this is probably the case for many other teams across the industry. We spend, some time developing it, a bunch of time testing it, a bunch of time auditing it, and then kind of like going back and forth until we kind of like get it to a point where we're confident that it's like very safe. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think yeah, would if there's like any kind of like questions, would love to get into those. And also like one other thing is like we'll always be available to answer questions like in the Telegram chats and that kind of stuff. So if there's anything security related, better safe than sorry. Like there's always people available to answer your questions. So just ask. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you for going through all of that. I think that was a really great like walkthrough of how you can begin to even evaluate the security of your smart contract, different resources, and all open source. So I think that was a really, really great presentation. To everyone in the chat, yeah, thanks, Ollie. Ollie's given you a little emoji in the chat there, TK. Cool. So if you have any questions, please do post them at the moment. Otherwise, I believe the best place to ask them will be in the Telegram chat that we posted before. And I will quickly add that to the stage again, or promote it as a notification. There we go. So if you haven't joined the dedicated Telegram chat, please do. And you can get in touch with not just TK, but some of the other speakers and sponsors too of this hackathon. So yeah, absolutely join in. Yep. Any questions? Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up. And yeah, I'm sure everyone has some great takeaways from this workshop. Cool. TK, you still there? You all good? I think on my side your camera was off, but
Yeah.
it might be in my thing. Okay, awesome. Cool. And you're also in the Telegram chat, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So people can catch you there if you're able to answer any of the questions that they might have. But I'm sure, yeah, those will come perhaps later on when people start building and engaging a bit more. This is, after all, just the launch day, the first hour of the hackathon. So, yeah, I don't expect anyone to have built anything so far. Cool. Thank you so much, TK, for coming along. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, everyone, thank you all for stopping by. This is going to be a wonderful and very wholesome and collaborative hackathon. So I'm super excited to see what you all build. Okay, and with that, I'm to end this session. See you, everyone.